You're saying, Your Honor, you're saying this is a criminal matter?
Yes.
Okay, well then we need the corpus delicti. You have the identification of the person, which is me, but you don't have a person saying that they were hurt or damaged, or the crime that's saying what I did to hurt or damage the person. So how do you have a crime?
You went to law school?
No, Your Honor, I have not.
You're in a whole different ball game, and you need to come on to this ball game here.
Get ready for a courtroom moment you won't forget, because today's case is nothing short of intense. We're stepping into the courtroom of Judge Perkins, a seasoned and no-nonsense judge who's known for his sharp discipline and zero tolerance for antics and facing him. A defendant who's decided that the law simply doesn't apply to him. That's right, this individual is claiming to be a sovereign citizen, insisting that he's exempt from government laws and legal proceedings altogether. According to him, if he doesn't acknowledge the law, then the law can't touch him. But as we all know, that's not how reality or the justice system works. Judge Perkins remains cool, focused, and absolutely unshaken. He listens, he assesses, and then he does what he does best. He applies the law with clarity and authority. One by one, he dismantles every empty argument the defendant tries to throw at the court. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, it's methodical, respectful, and packed with quiet power. The defendant, meanwhile, speaks with the overconfidence of someone who's watched a few too many internet videos and now thinks he's found a legal loophole that no one else has noticed. But Judge Perkins has heard it all before, and you can see it in his expression. He doesn't need to raise his voice to make a point. The facts are on his side, and his response speaks volumes. Now let me ask you, if you were in Judge Perkins' position, how would you have handled this? Could you stay composed in the face of such baseless defiance, or would it have tested your patience? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. With that, let's jump right into the footage and watch how Judge Perkins calmly and completely shuts down another misguided sovereign citizen defense. This is legal reality meeting courtroom fantasy, and it's one you don't want to miss.
I'm going to give you a $0 bond. And I'll recall the warrant. What is your motion, sir?
I have a motion to strike and dismiss.
What are the bases?
Basis of federal rules of civil procedure. Number one, there's no claim. There's no ratification of the claim.
There is a claim. There is a. You want me to read out I waived the reading of the information. You want me to read the claims, the allegations that have been made into the record? Do you need me to do that?
No, I don't. No, I don't, Your Honor.
I deny your motion on that basis. What else do you have to say? What else?
You deny my motion because of what, Your Honor?
Yes.
There is no real.
I deny your motion because there is a and this is criminal procedure, not civil procedure. But I denied your motion because there is an allegation here.
You're saying, Your Honor, you're saying this is a criminal matter?
Yes.
Okay, well then we need the corpus delicti. And so that's what I'm asking for. If there was a criminal matter, basically what you're telling me is that something has happened, someone has either been damaged or someone has been or either someone has been damaged or someone has something has been come up missing. And if that's the case, then that means that there is a crime. And if there's a crime, then there is the what do you have that's saying that I did the crime? What you're saying that I created this crime that hurt this person, and if I hurt this person and I created the crime, then the third thing that you have to have is the identification of the person. You have the identification of the person, which is me, but you don't have a person saying that they were hurt or damaged, or the crime that's saying what I did to hurt or damage the person. So how do you have a crime?
Okay. You went to law school?
No, Your Honor, I have not.
And where did you get that? Where did you get that from? Where did you learn all that?
I've been studying for quite some time, trying to understand what's going on. I have a different perspective as to what's being said that happened. I'm understanding more necessary for a crime to go for them to bring a crime forward. I'm understanding that a bit more.
And where did you get that understanding?
I've done some Cornell law studies. I've also sat down with a couple of friends who have had some issues. I picked up wherever I could, just started to study the law, just started to go back through Cornell law, started to figure out what was going on and to understand the nature of how what a crime is and everything else. So just a course of me searching it out.
And you're citing Cornell law for all of that you just said to the court?
No, what I did, Your Honor, was I realized that one of the biggest portions that you have to have is you have to have the corpus delicti.
There's something genuinely impressive about how Judge Perkins is handling this situation. His calm, collected attitude never wavers, even as the defendant goes on a long-winded rant about laws that seem pulled from a Google search. You'd think he was swatting away a minor annoyance, not managing a defendant trying to reinvent the legal system. It's courtroom composure at its absolute best. The defendant, meanwhile, is confidently quoting excerpts from legal websites like Cornell Law, as if rattling off legal phrases will somehow grant him immunity. But it's clear to anyone watching that he's misapplying concepts he doesn't truly understand. It's the classic mistake, mistaking access to information for actual expertise. And in front of an experienced judge like Perkins, that strategy doesn't stand a chance. It really feels like watching someone argue with a master chef about how to prepare a dish despite never having cooked one themselves. There's a kind of misplaced confidence here that's hard to ignore. He's not just wrong, he's completely convinced he's right. And that kind of blind certainty can be its own downfall. What's most surprising is the way this defendant carries himself, as if he truly believes he's going to win this argument by sheer persistence. He's standing before a judge with years, if not decades, of legal experience and trying to explain how the law works. To him, it's bold, but not in a good way. You have to wonder what drives someone to embrace these sovereign citizen ideologies. Is it misinformation? A misunderstanding of how the system works? Or is it something deeper? Whatever the root cause, it's clear that these arguments don't hold up in court. They never have, and they won't now. I'd love to hear what you think. Is this just stubborn defiance, or something more? Let me know your take in the comments. Up next, we'll see how Judge Perkins responds, and trust me, it's handled with precision and complete command of the courtroom. Let me know if you want a condensed version for TikTok, Shorts, or a formal narration version.
And that is when you're being charged criminally.
What is a corpus delicti?
What do you mean, what is the corpus delicti?
What is your understanding of what corpus delicti is?
That is the corpus delicti is the law that's saying that there is a crime that's being committed. So in order to do that, you have to show the corpus delicti, which is you saying this is what happened. This is how this person was damaged.
So
there is no
the
person.
Officer on these dates, because I got a lot of them, said that
I object. I object. The officer works.
Don't interrupt me.
I apologize, Your Honor. I apologize, Your Honor. My apologies.
The officer says that you drove a vehicle that wasn't registered and wasn't titled, or titled and or untitled, that you drove without a valid driver's license, that you drove without valid insurance. Again, on a different occasion, they allege that you drove but without a valid driver's license and no insurance. And then on a different occasion, they allege that you drove without unregistered or untitled, or both, and drove without a valid driver's license, repeat offender, that you failed to have a trailer plate, and that you failed to secure a load on your vehicle. And on another occasion, on the same occasion that you failed to secure, that they allege you failed to secure the load, failed to have a trailer plate on your vehicle, that you didn't provide a valid driver's license. So those are the crimes And in state of Michigan, whether you agree or not, they are crimes. So based on your motion and all of that stuff you talked about, corpus delicti and things like that, the court denies the motion, okay? Based on those reasons I just said. Now, how do you want to move forward? Because wait a minute, I'm not finished.
My apologies, Your Honor.
How do you want to move forward? Because in my experience, someone that comes into court, as you do, you do not want to take an offer. You do not believe that you need to have plates or registration or insurance, and you just disregard all of that portion of the law. And either you are going to move forward by having a trial, or you're going to take a deal. What do you want to do, sir?
Your Honor, first I want to put my objection on the record. And at that point,
whatever your objection is noted. What do you want to do, sir? Do you want a trial? You have two options: trial, or you want to take a deal.
Your Honor, I request a jury trial.
A jury trial.
A jury trial, yes, Your Honor.
Very good.
This part of the hearing really takes things to a whole new level. The defendant is now demanding a jury trial for traffic violations. Yes, you heard that right. He's asking for a panel of jurors to decide whether running multiple stop signs and driving without a license should be excused. It's the kind of request that makes you pause and ask, is this a serious legal move or just another attempt to stir the pot? Typically, jury trials are reserved for more serious matters, major criminal charges, high stakes, civil disputes, or felony-level offenses. Traffic infractions like the ones we're seeing here. Those are usually handled swiftly in front of a judge. But this defendant seems determined to escalate a straightforward case into a dramatic legal performance. It's as if he believes that a jury of random citizens will ignore the facts and decide based on emotion or ideology. But let's be real. It's hard to imagine a room full of strangers hearing about someone repeatedly ignoring basic traffic laws and deciding, yeah, let's just let this slide. The logic behind that approach is difficult to follow. What we're watching here isn't legal brilliance, it's someone trying to turn a routine traffic violation into a courtroom spectacle. And the unfortunate part is, it's not going to help him. If anything, it risks making the situation worse. Judges typically don't respond well to antics that waste court time, especially when they're based on misinformation. This entire episode feels like a case study in misplaced confidence. The idea that you can challenge long-standing legal procedures with vague internet theories or legal misinterpretations just doesn't hold water. And yet, here he is, convinced that he's on the verge of outsmarting the justice system. Let me know what you think in the comments. Is this just performative nonsense, or does he genuinely believe this strategy will work? Either way, it's clear the courtroom is about to deliver a serious reality check.
You know what I want to ask, Mr. Gray, and you can choose to answer it or not.
Yes, Your Honor.
But what I surmise and what I've heard, and I don't know if you're alleging the same thing, is that and you basically did allege the same thing, that no crime has been committed because no person has been, the people of the state of Michigan are in danger of you driving without the proper documentation or anything like that. But I don't, and I'm gonna surmise, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that you're gonna say that there's no jurisdiction to be able to pull you over because no one has been injured. Is that correct?
I think that what I'm saying is that the city of Detroit had an officer pull me over to say that you're not following these rules. And my stance is, okay, well then that's fine. If we're following rules, then therefore let me make sure that you as well as are following the rules, because if I don't do that, then freedoms are lost. So that is in which, that is the way that I proceed to say, okay, well then if we're playing cards and we playing show me yours. If this is your hand, then this is mine, and let's proceed accordingly to the law. That's it. That's my only standing is if someone doesn't stand up every once in a while and define the edges, then they all disintegrate and people lose rights.
And you know something? With that being said, I would agree with you 1,000%. Mm-hmm. That's why I pride myself, and I hope I'm doing a good job for the citizens that come in here and the police for that matter and the prosecution, that I am calling the balls and strikes right. And if something doesn't proceed as it should, then I will dismiss the case one way or the other. But in my short time on this bench and in my time at practicing law as a defense attorney, I get this, they can't pull me over. I've heard the corpus delicti, first time the civil procedure has been thrown at me. But from the way I see it, is that you just don't feel that the police have a jurisdiction to pull you over for these issues. Is that correct?
Do I have again, Your Honor, what I feel is that if we are following rules.
Usually interrupt mid-hearing, but I had to pause for a moment after that spot-in statement from the judge. Let's talk about what just happened. The defendant seriously claimed that the officer who pulled him over had no jurisdiction. As if public roads are some sort of legal no man's land where anyone can drive around unchecked. That's just not how reality or the law works. Public roads exist under the authority of local and state governments. When you choose to drive on them, you agree whether you like it or not to follow the laws that come with that privilege. It's not optional. You don't get to opt out of traffic stops because you've convinced yourself that you're somehow exempt from legal oversight. What's really confusing here is that he's not just dodging a legal argument, he's dodging basic logic. He's avoiding the judge's direct questions, circling around with vague legal buzzwords, hoping that repeating these lines will somehow make them true. But in court, clarity and facts matter more than confidence or volume. Honestly, this whole situation could have gone a lot smoother if he had just accepted responsibility. A simple, straightforward acknowledgement of his mistake could have led to a reasonable outcome. But instead, we're watching someone double down on a belief system that has no legal foundation. The sovereign citizen's mindset often presents itself as bold and self-empowered. But what we're seeing here is the opposite. Someone trying to escape accountability by rewriting the rules in real time. Unfortunately for him, the legal system isn't based on personal opinions. It's based on precedent, statutes, and jurisdiction, the very thing he's claiming doesn't apply. Let me know what you think. Do you believe this defendant truly buys into the ideas he's quoting? Or is this just a desperate strategy to avoid the consequences of his actions? By the way, one thing's for sure, he's not making his case any stronger.
Person out there, all of these officers, everybody else has to follow the rules. So if it comes down to it,
what I'm gonna hope that you do by the time you come back on the trial date, jury trial date is gonna be March the 18th, 2025.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're probably gonna have an audience because everybody follows me on these cases all the time.
I understand.
All right, and I don't know if that's what you want, but we're gonna do that.
It's not that.
March the 18th, 2025. We're gonna have a final pre-trial date. Final pre-trial. This is to you, Mr. Bowman, especially the day before on February 17th, 2025 at 8:30. So Mr. Gray and Mr. Bowman, I need you to have all your officers appear on that date. Who's ever going to state these allegations, so that we know that we're not just summoning the people of the city of Detroit to a jury that's not actually going to go. So all parties must appear, and that can be via Zoom. and the trial is going to be in person. All right? All parties must appear on final pretrial date and obviously on the trial date. And what I would implore you to do is you need to figure out the right game, because it doesn't sound like you're playing the right game.
I understand, Your Honor. I appreciate, first and foremost, let me say, I appreciate the dialogue. I appreciate you sitting here and engaging with me at this level. So I recognize what you're saying, and so yeah, I guess it's to the table we go. So
yeah, but get your game in order, because I'm just giving you a little heads up. If you come in with that game on the jury trial date, then more than likely you'll lose, unless you can find one of those jurors or a couple of those jurors, or even all of them, to have some sympathy for you, sir. I don't know.
I got a whole basis for understanding, and so yeah, if you know it.
Well,
it
that
is
basis
what it
that
is.
you outlined shortly today is not. It's not.
What was flawed in my what was flawed, Your Honor? What is
we
flawed
already
in my?
discussed it. We already discussed it. The federal rules of civil procedure that you brought up as a motion to dismiss, not the right basis. The corpus delicti, they do have a corpus delicti. They do have a crime that they say has been committed. And if you read the MCL, the Michigan court rules, and the Michigan statutes, then you'll see those crimes outlined there. They have them on the tickets. They got the statute numbers that are on the tickets. So that's not the right basis. So you're in a whole different ball game, and you need to come on to this ball game here.
Okay. All right.
So let's talk about this upcoming jury trial set for March 2025. Honestly, it's hard to imagine a panel of everyday citizens buying into the sovereign citizen narrative this defendant keeps pushing. The legal references he's been throwing around, they're completely disconnected from the actual charges, and they've got absolutely no bearing on traffic law. Here's the reality. Traffic violations are governed by state law. And anyone operating a vehicle on public roads is legally required to follow those laws. There are no exceptions, no secret status that lets you opt out. That argument's been tested and debunked in courtrooms across the country. Yet here he is, doubling down as if he's found a hidden loophole that generations of lawyers and judges have somehow missed. What's almost entertaining, if not a little sad, is how confidently wrong he is. He speaks as though he's uncovered some groundbreaking truth, but the holes in his logic are glaring. It's clear he hasn't done serious legal research, at least not from any credible source. Meanwhile, Judge Perkins deserves real credit for how composed he stayed during the hearing. Most people would have had trouble keeping a straight face if this goes to trial and he maintains the same defense. With no actual attorney to guide him, it's going to get ugly fast. A jury isn't going to entertain half-baked legal theories or fringe arguments. Jurors are regular people. They pay traffic fines, follow the rules, and expect others to do the same. Do you really think they'll side with someone who insists he's above the law while ignoring basic regulations? Makes this even more baffling is that it all could have been avoided. He could have accepted the citation, paid the fine, and moved on. Instead, he's now risking a full jury trial and potentially harsher consequences all over a belief system that holds no legal weight. If this is his strategy, it's a risky one. And unless something drastically changes, it's not likely to end well. So what do you think? Is this guy truly convinced he's right? Or is he just pretending to be misinformed to delay the inevitable? Personally, I think he genuinely believes in what he's saying, and that's what makes this case even more concerning. He's fully committed to an argument that has no legal standing. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I always enjoy reading your takes. And if you're enjoying the coverage, make sure to like and subscribe for more courtroom breakdowns just like this one. I post fresh content daily, so stay tuned. And as always, thanks for watching and take care.